everybody! This will be the first of a series of 3 vlogs where I will be playing a sort of character design game. The rules of the game are simple. First, a friend of mine will off-screen describe a show and its top 3 characters to me in the vaguest terms possible. From there, I'll design 3 characters based on this info. The trick is I won't have any idea what the show actually is. At the end, I'll reveal the actual show and the characters to compare my designs to reality. Feel free to play along at home. I'll just be here explaining my thought processes when I design. So let's get started. My friend described the show as police officers in a city, and the first character as fun, happy, immature dude here for a good time. So as I began sketching, I had some main things I wanted to incorporate. For starters, I always like to start, whenever I'm doing a character design, I like to start out which kind of shapes I want to use. Like beyond just general like body shape of like, oh, is he fat, is he skinny? I like to think more in the general sense of, is it roundish, get more friendly vibes, or is it pointier? Is it more rectangular? And here in this case, I tried to go more round, so I used like a circle head and all that sort of stuff, kind of make it more stout for that sort of stuff. A second technique I used was try to get into the character's head and think what would they do if they're like live. So like in this case, I kind of, because he's immature, I thought maybe he's more likely to have like an unbuttoned shirt, like maybe the first one's unbuttoned, like he's not wearing his tie, he's like in the uniform, but it's kind of like undone, like his like shirt sticking out and all that sort of stuff. And so that's that for the first character. Moving on to the second one. My sister described this character as she is very anxious and follows the rules to a T type. So for this character, I decided to design her as more slender than the other characters, as if she's like a rope that's about to snap. Second of all, I tried to make sure that you kind of get this anxious expression on her face, as if I gave her big eyes, more nervous, and like some like shadows under her eyes. I also made sure her uniform was very clean cut, right up to regulation standard of whatever my cartoonish style may be. Lastly, when I was thinking of how her personality would shine through in the story, I was thinking she's probably the kind of person who she holds herself to a high standard, unlike the previous character who's more lackadaisical and like whatever happens, happens. And that's about it for this character. Moving on to the third and final character, my friend described this character as grumpy no nonsense, which is pretty short, but based on that and based on how she never gave me a particular rank, I decided to make this character more of a detective type, and sort of like the grizzled old detective in charge of the rookie cops. Thus, because of that, I decided to make him more rectangular, very big-bodied person. Because of that, I gave him a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, along with a long trench coat which he could swoosh around crime scenes. Now that I have all the characters, I'm going to be comparing the actual show to what I designed. So the actual show was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is really fun to discover, but let's get into comparing the two characters. The first two ended pretty similar with untucked shirts and fun-loving vibes, pretty scrappy all around. And going on to the second, they ended up being pretty stiff and all that sort of stuff, though hairstyles and outfits are a bit different. Finally, moving on to the last two, they're pretty similar vibe-wise, but I can see the difference between the two because one's a cartoon, one's realistic. Overall, I think this went fairly well. There was a lot of shared character traits between the two pairs, and overall I think there's a nice lineup between all 3 characters in the end. Regardless, how do you think I did? Comment down below what you thought of my designs, or if you were surprised by the actual show. Thanks for watching, bye!